has created a lot of mis and disinformation and confusion, and unfortunately, a lot of expense for unauthorized immigrants who are having to renew their ITINs at a cost, which is unfortunate. So we're continuing to renew ITINs, and I'm going to talk about that as well. So this is how they were having them expire. They were trying to do it over a rollout period of time. And the bottom line now is ITIN, as you may or may not know, ITINs, the first digit is a 9. So they're easily identified. The first digit is a 9, and they are issued through a letter, so you get a letter from the IRS. They used to be issued on a card that was green and white. The government didn't want to do that anymore because they thought it looked too much like a Social Security card, and so now you get your ITIN in a letter from the IRS. So any ITIN with the middle digits of 70 all the way, we've gotten all the way through 87. So if your middle digits are 70, 71, 72, all the way to 87, those ITINs have expired by December 31st, 2019, unless you affirmatively renewed it. And if you affirmatively renewed it, you had to go through another application process, and you would get in the mail from the IRS a letter. It's a one-page letter that's very obviously says in bold letters, "We renewed your ITIN." So if you haven't done that, you need to do that as soon as possible. In addition, if you haven't used an ITIN for 3 consecutive tax years, then that ITIN, regardless of the middle digits, has expired. What they also were trying to do is, if mom and dad had ITINs and those had expired and the kids' ITINs hadn't yet expired, they were allowing everybody to file a ITIN application to renew them together. So even if those kids hadn't expired, they were allowing them to renew early. So this is important, and everybody's got to make sure their ITINs are renewed, or it really does put a wrench in your tax filing obligation. So as I said, if you're a non-filer, or if an ITIN hasn't been used, the government is going to expire it. And so what that means is, oh, how many digits does an ITIN have? That's a great question. And the question is, it has as many digits as a Social Security number. So 3 in the first bracket starts with an I, then 2 middle digits, and then 4 at the end. So on its face, it kind of looks like a Social Security number. It has the same number of digits, but always starts with a 9. And so for me, it's readily identifiable, and should be for you, because it starts with a 9. And I thank you for asking the question. I'm going to show you how you apply for an ITIN. I'm going to go through that process. So this is great. Thank you for these questions. It helps me realize you're out there and to get you involved. So if your ITIN has expired, or is going to expire, by the way, I expect more middle digit numbers to expire, and the IRS typically is going to announce that they typically announce it in May or June, what middle digits are going to expire for the period ending 12/31/2020. So for the end of this year, they'll let us know, and I'll let you know through all of our networks. Yes, this presentation is going to be available online, and it's also going to be I think you will get a copy of it if you registered through email. So I get the good news is these letters put people on notice. And what's really great about it, these letters come out in May. And so I often get contacted by people who want to renew your ITIN before it expires as early as possible. Right now is not a good time to renew your ITIN. Why? It's tax season. The IRS is way backed up, and the ITIN renewal process is very manual. It's a paper application, and so it's not electronic. So it's complicated. So they do send out these letters. Do they send them to everybody? They try to, but of course, because people move, they don't always have the last current address. So if somebody hasn't gotten the letter, that doesn't mean their ITIN hasn't expired. So, but hopefully they get them, so that will tease them to do something. As you can see, not surprisingly, the top areas are where we have lots of immigrants.